Hey, it's Doug from the Rise Up Gym channel. And are you having trouble getting your arm completely overhead? Well, I have some tips and tricks for you to help you out with that. Let's check it out. I want to make this clear before we go into the exercises. This is not for people that have serious injuries like a labrum or rotator cuff tear. This is more for people that kind of did a use it or lose it kind of thing and didn't use it and are having trouble getting overhead because of tight muscles or lack of strength. So I want to make that clear. If you do have one of those serious injuries, consult your doctor before you do any of these exercises. One of the easiest ways to start getting your shoulder overhead is to loosen up the tight surrounding muscles, and you can do it with a self-MR or self-myofascial release or foam rolling. I like this little guy because I can put it against the wall or even the floor, which is a little bit more aggressive, and I can just kind of roll in various angles. Now this is good to do before your workouts or even daily when you're warming up or getting up in the morning just to get things going. Now we'll roll three important parts. One is the obvious shoulder area. So I'm gonna put this against a flat surface and I'm gonna bring my arm across a little bit and then just kind of roll in this area. So the shoulder has about 3 heads or so, the deltoid. So we'll go posterior, which is the back. We'll do a medial or lateral on the side, and then we'll do the front anterior. So we're rolling there. Now, some of the overlooked ones are one, the pec, which is the front here, your chest muscle. Now, if this chest muscle, if these fibers are tight, it's gonna pull, see how it pulls the shoulder forward, and I'm gonna have very limited range of motion overhead. Now just think about all day long what we do, computer, video games, studying in school, even sports like football, pressing forward, a lot of bench press. This is gonna limit your shoulder overhead movement. So we wanna roll the pec out. I'm gonna put this against my pec. I'm gonna bring my arm behind me to open up those fibers even more. And I'm gonna roll right in this area. And primarily at the junction between where the shoulder and the pec connect is a great place to do that, a tendon right there. Lastly, another kind of area or muscle that can inhibit the overhead movement are lats. So lats go from the back and they connect in various areas, but one area people don't really know they connect to is actually your upper arm. So the lats will come in and connect into the humerus in the armpit area. You want to roll that armpit area up. If it's tight, again, from doing, let's say, throwing or being forward, we want to open up this area and we can probably get more range of motion automatically after that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it right in that armpit area. I'm going to open up and I'm going to roll. Now if you need this to be more aggressive, you can go on the floor with a foam roller and you have your body weight and gravity assist to help facilitate the movement and get a little bit more out of it. But I feel it right here, so I'm going to kind of focus on there. It's kind of the junction where the tricep and the lat meet. So that junction can get very tight with all those crossing muscles and kind of connecting all into the same point. So if you loosen those up, you should feel relief right away. Traction is a great way to loosen up a stiff muscle capsule and the surrounding muscles to help you get your arm overhead. Bands are great for this traction. So what I'm going to do is I put a band up here. I'm just going to wrap my arm around and I'm basically just going to contract and then relax, contract. So I'm kind of pulling my shoulder blade into the socket and then relaxing. And I can change angles. So I turn, again, the shoulder should move in a lot of different angles. So I want to find angles that are challenging for me. I just raise my arm up a little bit. I can even go overhead and pull. So you want to find various angles that help challenge that joint without pain, and you're able to activate the muscles to use it so you can create strength in those areas as well and then help you get your arm overhead. Another one I like, this one's a little bit hard to get completely overhead. You can do it this way, but also I like another band. So let's say I'll get a band with a handle. That band is a little bit tense for this. I tend to go with a very light band with this. So I'm gonna bring my arm overhead and I'm gonna pull my shoulder blade down and I'm gonna get a little bit of a tension and I'm just gonna pull and move. Now traction is very minimal movement, but with this light band I can actually do some exercise. And the reason why my hand is here because I don't want my rib cage to go up. that's kind of faking flexibility. So I want to make sure that my rib cage is actually staying down and I'm getting a little bit of a stretch, so I'm getting that pure overhead movement. So right there I feel a little tension, so I'm going to tighten up and see if I can get more without lifting that rib cage, and then gradually get my arm overhead. If I need a little more tension, I'll just step forward, squeeze through, pull back. So again, set up your bands and then add some tension. I do these before my workouts about 3 days a week. I'll throw in some rotator cuff work and then I'll work the band in various areas just to prime my shoulders and make sure I have that strength and mobility overhead. Okay, we did our self-myofascial release, we did our traction, and now we're going to do our stretching. So let's say it's the end of the workout, we're going to stretch a little bit. Now the 3 things we want to stretch are the same things we pretty much released earlier on. So we're going to do a little bit of the pec and we're going to do a little bit of the shoulder junction. One easy one that you can start with is just a tabletop stretch. So I'm going to have my fingertips behind me, which is going to open up my shoulders. I'm going to pull my shoulders back and down, and then I'm just going to stretch like this. This is kind of the beginner's way. I'm going to slouch a little bit and then lift up. Now if you're pretty good and you can handle a little bit of pressure, you can start to tabletop a little bit. And just open up even more, and you can kind of wiggle around in here, play around, try to open up the chest a little bit more. So the more we open up the chest, even though we're in extension, will help our overhead flexion. Second, we're going to do a little bit of a pec stretch, doorway stretch. I like to do one arm at a time, but you can do 2. Now what I'm going to do is have my full forearm here against the frame. I'm going to set my shoulder down and I'm pulling forward, so I'm kind of moving here. When I'm thinking about there's a muscle underneath your scapula, the subscap, I'm trying to activate that. So I'm pulling down and I'm pulling and activating in that armpit kind of area like we talked about earlier, where we're rolling. So you can fall forward a little bit and that's just kind of stretching out the capsule, which is good, but I'm really trying to release those muscles a little bit. And I'm actually kind of pushing in with the elbow and creating tension. And I feel my lat, my subscap, and that whole armpit area kind of activate and then relax. And that's going to get those muscles to contract and relax and hopefully release. So lastly, there is a little bit more of an aggressive one. So we did the tabletop. That was kind of the precursor to this. But I'm going to put my hand palm down, fingers down, and I'm trying to keep it flat. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn and rotate. I'm going to stop here, I'm going to breathe, I'm going to set my shoulder down, and then rotate a little bit more. Again, I'm doing more extension, but extension will help flexion. So I'm going to breathe, and I'm kind of pulling with my arm on my rib cage and trying to open everything up this way so I can get here and move this arm in different directions. So a lot of it comes from this shoulder capsule and junctional area where the muscles intersect, and that causes some stiffness. So if we can loosen that up, you should be able to get a healthy shoulder overhead. And then like we talked about earlier, you have to use it. So go and do your strength exercises or do more calisthenics with things overhead like pull-ups and anything else, or if you're at home and you're putting things up on a shelf, do those things to help gain that functionality back. So thanks for watching. If you like the video, please like it down below. Also subscribe, as I try to put a new video out every week. If you have a topic for a video, put it down in the comments and I'll make a video on that. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.